Hey guys, Mustang here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so coming up tomorrow we finally have the release on Global of the first Super Strike EZA. So for those of you who weren't aware, I did mention this in a previous video about, stuff upcoming in part 2, but the Super Strike units are finally getting upgrades. They are getting awakenings to TUR and then an EZA basically straight away. Mighty Mask over here, TEQ Mighty Mask, is the first one that is going to be releasing on Global. JP already has the Int Android 16, and then very recently in the current celebration they got the one for the AGL Kid Vegeta. So interesting to see what they're going to look like in the future. The Vegeta actually looks really good. The Mighty Mask probably suffers from being the first of the bunch because he's not particularly great. So we're going to look over what he does. His leader skill is AGL and Tech types 3 key, HP attack and defense 70%. Considering a lot of free-to-play EZA units get 77% leads for categories, I feel like this is a bit low, but you're probably never going to use him as a leader anyway, so I guess it's not a huge deal. His super attack effect raises attack and defense for 1 turn, does supreme damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense. The defense lowering obviously not really that important, but raising attack and defense for 1 turn obviously is a very good super attack effect. If you get an additional super, then obviously you get the additional raise for both as well. And then his passive is attack and defense 100% at the start of the turn. Then he gets an additional attack and defense 50% when performing a super attack. He gets an additional 50% defense and a medium chance to dodge when facing only 1 enemy. Then he gets an additional 50% attack and launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super when facing 2 or more enemies. So seems a bit strange that they are that way around, because against 1 enemy he's better defensively because he gets more raw defense and he has a 30% chance to dodge, and then against multiple enemies he gets extra attack and then the chance to launch an additional super, which will increase his defense of course if he does. But obviously if you were going to use him in something like Super Battle Road where there are multiple enemies, you probably want him to be more defensive in those situations, right? Because depending on where you're able to put him on the rotation, he might be getting attacks from multiple enemies. So seems like an odd choice for them to be that way around. But again, the additional super attack, if you do get it, because it's a medium chance, he gets a guaranteed additional normal, and then it's a 30% chance that that will become a super. So against multiple enemies, obviously when you factor in the hidden potential system, he could triple super. So then his defense will obviously be a lot higher. But if you don't get good RNG on that turn, he's only going to get 1 super and his defense is not going to be as good. Now, this is where we get to the biggest issue though with this unit. So his links are the Innocence, World Tournament Reborn, Super Saiyan, Bombardment, Super Strike, Blazing Battle, and Shattering the Limit. So this was always the problem with Super Strike units, is a few of them have links like Bombardment, and I think they do all have Super Strike, funnily enough. But no other units really have them. So I mean, at level 10 they're not terrible links, but you're not going to have a lot of units that share them with this guy, especially then when we get to the worst part about the card, which is his categories. So he is on World Tournament and Majin Buu Saga, and that is it. So for some reason they do this with all the Mighty Mask units, where even though obviously we know that this Mighty Mask is just Goten and Trunks in disguise, they are not on Hybrid Saiyans. They have the Super Saiyan link, but they're not on Super Saiyans, even though they are both Super Saiyan under the disguise. Whereas when you compare that to units like the Great Saiyaman units, they are all on Hybrid Saiyans and Goku family for like the Gohan ones. Obviously the Saiyaman 1 and 2 ones aren't. But yeah, it's like the game recognizes that the Great Saiyaman 1 is Gohan, so he's on the appropriate teams. But the game apparently doesn't recognize that Mighty Mask is actually Goten and Trunks. So unfortunately, that hurts this unit quite significantly, because World Tournament is basically a dead team. We still don't have a 170 leader for that team. And then Majin Buu Saga is, I think, the biggest category in the game, which has a ton of crazy good options. I mean, we literally just got the Dual Dokkan Fest with the 2 new best TURs on Global, and they're on Majin Buu Saga. So unfortunately, like, it comes down to where are you going to run this guy. So unless you are like a much newer player, or maybe you've been playing for a short while but you're completely free to play, then maybe he could be a decent boost for the team. But I don't think many people are going to have a huge amount of space for him on their teams. So The interesting thing about the unit, obviously you should get him farmed up. There's a bunch of missions involved, and they've made it a lot easier than it used to be for the Super Strike characters when they first came out. Shout out to anyone who remembers the OG grind of trying to farm up these units, only being able to do stage 2 to get the Awakening medals with a team that had less than 100 team cost, and then you had to do the Prime Battle LR Goku event only with a Super Strike team. That was a huge pain, so shout out to anyone who remembers that. But this is the event. So the event gets reset like when they update story events in the past, which means that even if you've completed it already, it just goes back to all the stages being new. So that does mean you do get a stone for completing each stage. There's now going to be 4 instead of the 2, so you're going to get 4 stones straight off the bat just by beating the new stages. Although in fact stage 1 has 3 difficulties, so in fact you are going to get 6 stones in total for beating all of these. So stage 1, you fight these guys and you get the card. You get a guaranteed drop of the card as long as you do Z hard difficulty. And with the update from version Z, you might as well just do Z hard first, because then it's going to give you the 2 stones for completing normal and hard anyway. You get 1 guaranteed copy of the Mighty Mask card. There's a random chance that as the boss at the end of the stage, instead of the Mighty Mask, you actually fight Goten and Trunks separately, and as like, you know, as a 2-person fight, and then that guarantees you 2 drops of the card. So it's a little bit of a quicker way to get them farmed up. The second stage gives you the medals to awaken them to their SSR stage, which if you've already done the event, if you're an older player, this is the stage you have the unit at already. And then stage 3 drops the medals to awaken them to a TUR, and then stage 4 is where you're going to get the medals for awakening them, well, it's for EZAing them, I should say, and it has 3 stages. So in terms of the event info, you do get bonus for having World Tournament characters. So you can get bonus drops of the cards and of these medals if you have World Tournament units on your team. Level 1 on Z hard, you can have a Hercule appear on one part of the map, and if you beat him you get a bit of extra Zenny. It's not a huge amount, so for a lot of people it's probably not worth going out of your way to do it. And then level 4, like in Extreme Z area, it's the different types of capsules will give you the medals for the EZAs. Now, one thing to bear in mind is there are a bunch of missions that will give you copies of the card as a reward. So make sure you check these out before you just jump straight into the event, because a lot of these missions will actually save you a lot of time. Now, the most important one, especially for new players, is awakening the Super Strike units requires these Turtle and Bulma medals that you normally only get from the World Tournament, unless they appear in the barbershop. So by leveling up the Mighty Mask to level 10, it gives you 7 of each, and then clearing stage 2 gives you 7 of each. This is very important for if you want to get the unit maxed out free to play. Because the other thing I should have mentioned as well, Super Strike units, they went up to SA 15. So post EZA, they actually go up to SA 20. So if you're starting completely from scratch, you want to farm up 2 SA 10 copies of this guy. And then once you've EZA'd your main one that you've opened the paths for, you feed in the other SA 10 one. And to get him up to that stage, you're obviously going to need 2 sets of these medals if you're farming up 2 of them. So if you're a newer player and you don't have a ton of these World Tournament medals, remember the event is going to give you the exact number that you need as long as you do it properly. And then as you go down, one path of Mighty Mask Hidden Potential gives you 3 copies of the already SSR card. So that's going to help you open up the other ones. So if you've already got 1 copy of this guy but you never awakened any of his paths, you can farm up another copy to awaken him to SSR with the medals that you get, and then open 1 path, and then that's going to give you the 3 copies that you need to fill out the other 3. And then I think there is another one as well. Yeah, just Z awakening him gives you 5 copies. Z awakening this guy to like actually being a UR gives you another copy. So in fact you don't actually need to farm up and awaken any copies for the Hidden Potential, because remember, those will waste these medals. Now for me, been playing a long time, done a lot of World Tournaments, I have a ton of these, so I've already awakened some extra copies to open up the paths. Now, if you have done things like this, like already having Z awakened, already have him SA 15, already opened his Hidden Potential paths, I checked with a friend who plays JP, and you should auto-complete all of these missions. So for some people, depending on how much of this you've done already, you're going to be able to log in once the event comes out, and you should, in theory, get a bunch of these missions automatically complete, and then you can go in and collect all the rewards and then based on how many of them you've gotten from the stuff that you've done already, that's going to set you off. You probably only have a couple of these minor final steps to do. So you do get a few tech orbs as well. I don't think there's one for actually like rainbowing them, so you don't need to use those tech orbs on the Mighty Mask if you don't want to. And then when it comes to stage 4 is where you farm the medals, but there are a bunch of missions that you can do to get extra medals quicker, so it won't have to do as many runs. So beating the stage within 10 turns, beating it within 5 turns, beating it with Android 18 on your team, and then beating it with an Android's category team. So I guess that means every single unit has to be an Android. Usually these missions don't include the friend, so I guess the friend wouldn't matter, but I would say just bring an Android friend anyway, right? Because most of the units have Android leader skill. Well, all of the units have Android leader skill, funnily enough, are Androids. So just bring an Android team, get the extra medals. This gives you almost all of the medals that you need. You'd only have to do a couple more runs after this, and then you'll be able to EZA them. And then, yeah, fully EZAing them gives you another bunch of stones. Getting them to SA20 gives you another 3. I mean, if you look at all of these, clearing stage 4 3 times gives you 5 stones. So in total, there's probably a good, like, 20 plus stones that you can get just from doing this. So even though, as we talked about at the beginning when going over the actual Mighty Mask details, I don't think he's that good. I will do a rainbow showcase for him, but obviously I'm not going to link level him or anything. But this whole event is definitely worth doing because you get a bunch of stones out of it. And with all these missions, you don't have to use as much stamina because you don't have to do as many runs. So I think it is definitely worth doing. Obviously, there's no rush to do it all on day 1 either. So definitely make sure you grab all of these stones before the next celebration comes out. So let me know what you guys think down below of the TEQ Mighty Mask. Have you done it already? I know when there's not a lot to do on global, things like this where you can pre-farm the extra copies and stuff gives people like something to do. Like I said, I think I've already pre-farmed the copies to open his paths, so cuts out a little bit of time, even though it is the harder way of doing it. But if you've got nothing else to do in the game, why not? So if you've got nothing to do today, well, after you've watched this video, you could start getting that stuff ready. But like I said, the missions will give you a bunch of the extra stuff. So realistically, you don't really need to pre-farm a whole bunch of stuff ready for this event. So let me know what you guys think down below. I'm sure some of you guys have got them all ready to go already. And let me know which Super Strike unit you are most looking forward to the Awakening for. I think for me it will be the TEQ Xeno Trunks, because obviously anything crossover related I'm a big fan of, and maybe that will push them to EZA the other Xeno Trunks when that comes out. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.